relates to the explanation about the different interpretations about start end of Ramadan.
Yeah.
And you say you have to go with your community and then you test it. But isn't the job of the leadership to actually lead the community and tell them which is the interpretation that you should follow? Otherwise, we're becoming like an organization where the followers, the leaders are the followers of their followers.
Yeah.
So, is it appropriate that a community which is ignorant of the detail is the one that's telling the Imam and knocking on the door and saying, "Oh, this is the interpretation that you should follow"? Isn't that wrong?
Okay, good question. In theory, you're right. But in practice, part of leading the community is to educate them. Not every one of them. We're not going to be able to do that. If we first haven't educated or made opportunity like this kind of session open to the community, to educate people, to make them realize and understand, it is better in wisdom to try educate the community and to try carry them with you, rather than just come knowing that they have no education on this and just make a ruling or announcement. The ruling announcement is also possible, I agree with you. Majority of people will go to a mosque or masjid that they're going to, and they know that's their scholar and the Imam. He's made an announcement, and that's it, they'll follow. It doesn't always happen like that though. And communities vary in regard to that. And we have a community also, who do they recognize? And the whole issue of Imam and scholarship, etc., is an issue that's debated in the community already. Yeah? Perhaps they don't even think they have, some of them don't even think they have an Imam or anybody with scholarship to give them any guidance. True? That's the reality on the ground. So I say, yes, we do need to lead, but that's why I'm more gentle with this. But I think a time will come where what you're saying is the right approach. But I think it needs, when that time is, this is all for people to decide. You could be right saying now's the time. I could be right in saying no, we need to delay it. How long is a piece of thread? So we can carry on with that. It's purely ijtihad. But I think education is a key here to reduce any chance of people then saying that, oh, I've never heard of this opinion, or this, how can this be and how can that? It doesn't fully answer your question. The other is, of course, community-wise, is, as I said earlier on, ideally try and get mosques in the same city together and go along with, convince those who then have knowledge, whether they're on the committees or whether they're the Imams or the scholars, try and convince them of the best opinion, or at least the legitimacy of a different opinion, and be willing to follow the other opinion, because the opinion of seeing with the naked eye is also possible as well as it was then, although we don't necessarily think, I don't think it's the best opinion in our context. But then come to an agreement and sacrifice it for the sake of unity. That's also something that needs to be considered.
But the crux of the matter is, I've talked to people who can read and blah 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 blah. You know what they tell you? Our parents followed this, our great-grandparents followed this, those who come from India to other countries follow this, and I'm not going to change.
Yeah.
When you show them where the evidence are, this is a major problem.
Yeah, it is. This is a problem of
Because
education.
I've become an outcast where I used to live in the country, where I used to live before, even there's a
and that's the reality, and that's the public for you. You can't please all of the people all of the time. When you're dealing with public, it's easier in an organization, when you're dealing with a community, you get this kind of thing, and they don't realize what they're quoting when they say that. Actually, they are following the method of Jahiliyyah. Because when the Prophet ﷺ came with the message of belief and Islam, you know what they said? We will follow our forefathers as we always used to do. That was their evidence. And it's a bad evidence to you. Yalla, next question.
We do fast 6 fasts in Shawwal, the first 6 days after Shawwal. And they are the Nafli fast, isn't it? Can we make up like first 6 days of Shawwal and do the fast we missed during Ramadan, and we do first 6 fast and we count as our missed fast as well. Will that be alright, or the 6 fast in Shawwal are the separate fast we need to do it and then make up fast?
Good question. First thing is, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever fasts Ramadan and then fasts 6 from Shawwal, it's as though they have fasted all the year, all the time. Yeah? And remember, you're not allowed to fast every day, it's against the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So, yes, they are mustahab, recommended. Nowhere came in any hadith that the 6 fasts have to be one after the other. They say mutatabi', all together. This is the opinion of scholars. Hanafiya and others said, Malikiya as well, and I think Shafi'iyya said that you should do them together. Hanabila said no, they can be spread out any time in the month. Practically, many people do them together because they're already used to a habit. I'm giving excuse for that. Nothing came to the Sunnah. But practically, people often do them together straight away after Eid al-Fitr because it's easier for them because they're in a habit of fasting in Ramadan and they want to just carry on rather than spread them out. It's more difficult to do it like that, actually. But there's nothing that came that you have to do it like that. That's the first thing to clarify. You can do it any time in Shawwal. Now, about those that we've missed that we need to make up. Some said that it is a priority for those that you have missed because they were obligatory. So you should do them in Shawwal before you do your voluntary ones. But I find that argument weak. Why? Because I already said to you, authentic report, that the practice of Aisha radiallahu anha from Ummahat al-Mu'mineen, that she made up the fast that she missed because of haid, nifas, haid in her case, menstruation, when? Sha'ban, the next year. Do we think then Aisha radiallahu anha never did the 6th of Shawwal? What do you think? She must have done. Yeah? Sahaba. Yeah. So it shows you that that opinion is wrong to say that the priority is to do that. But also, it is wrong to do your 6 and count them as part of those 6 because they are sunnah, mustahab and nawafil, and will not count for your fard. Your fard ones must be done separate from those. I hope that answers the question. You can make the rest of them up in Shawwal as well if you want.
Why does the moon have to be the sign of Ramadan? Why can't it be like a particular day between the 6th or something?
Alright, why does the moon have to be? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the moon and gave us those as the signs. Allah decided and wanted us to use the sign of the moon. So you call them lunar months, the birth of the moon or whichever you follow, and the birth of the next moon is how the 12 months come. And on that basis, the months, the Islamic calendar months were divided. So Ramadan comes, the month of Hajj comes, the month of Muharram comes. They can only come if we use the moon as a sign. Yeah? But with what you're saying, a particular date, dates that we use are linked with the sun system. It's a solar calendar, right? But the lunar calendar, to do with the moon, actually is different to the calendar to do with the sun. However, even with the moon calendar, we can have a fixed date, but not the dates that we're using every year and the months we're using, because the months and dates we're using are linked with the sun. So if we were to have a fixed date, we can do it for the next 15, 20, 30, 50, however number of years, if we go by calculation, using calculation of the birth of the moon.
So it's all about the solar years.
Yeah, what we're living in, what society uses in the world is solar. But religious acts of Hajj and fasting in Ramadan is linked with lunar. We can't move away from that because Allah told us to do it according to that. Okay? Good luck, we understood that. Yes, sir.
On a journey, okay, and your intention is when you set out on that journey,
Yeah,
you're not going to fast because it's hardship for you.
fine.
Should you start the day fasting, and then when you set upon your journey, should you break your journey at a certain distance away from your...
I've got it now. The day started and that day you're going to travel on.
That's right, yeah.
But there's suhoor in the morning.
That's right.
Yeah, you don't need to fast in the first place.
You don't need to fast.
No, you don't
It's
need
your
to fast.
intention to travel
If
on
you are travelling on that journey, you don't need to fast.
Right.
If you feel that here it's important to realise that if you feel also, because remember for journey, from what I said, both is possible. You can fast as well.
It's a choice.
So sometimes people take the easier option of starting the fast before they set out on the journey, in case they want to fast. But also the only thing that would stop that is in case you don't travel, you change your mind. If you've already broken your fast, what are you going to do? You know, you're saying I'm going to set out at 3 o'clock,
Yeah.
my aeroplane journey so-and-so,
Yeah.
it gets delayed by 6 hours.
Yeah.
It's better you were fast at the beginning of the day,
Yeah.
at least you keep your fast that way. That's the safer way to approach it. Otherwise, it's absolutely fine also to start out the day and to break your fast once you start your journey as well.
If you come back to your locality before Maghrib,
Yeah.
should you...
No.
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 You've broken your fast.
The fast for that day you make up already, because you're in travel. Even if it's not like Salah, when you come back before Maghrib and now you have to pray the full Salah.
As a local.
Yeah. On the next day, you start fasting.
Ramadan meant, where it's derived from?
That's a good question. Well, huh?
It was from the old dating system. It got the name from the Jahili period.
Yeah.
And it was in the summertime.
Yeah.
It means
Ramad.
Yeah, hot sand.
Hot sand, something drying out.
But it's not tied to it anymore.
No.
So it's changed.
Yeah, the names are already there. But yeah, that's where I came across this idea that they had the names obviously in Jahili period.
When you're saying about tabia, if the woman is pregnant,
Yeah, al-khubala,
oh, let's say they are very old
very old.
and they can't take.
Good point. They can't afford to do that. Then actually, in that case, other family, wider family, can go as wide as you want, have responsibility to pay the fidyah on their behalf. If
But
they-
let's say,
And if even that's not available, they just make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because part of that, some people translated وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. For those who are able to afford it is to pay the fidyah. But most people can't, because it's a meal. It's not big amounts of money. They're compensating a meal for a poor person. And it could be a simple meal. When you're talking about affording, if they can't afford a 3-course meal, they go for a 2-course meal. If they can't afford to, you see what I'm saying? It can keep coming down. If they can't afford to pay for a 2-course meal, they pay for a 1-course meal. If they can't afford that, they pay for a little bit of bread and this. Yeah, and right at the other end, you said they can't afford that, then tawbah and dua to Allah.
Still do Ashura fast, isn't it?
Good question.
But we do 2 out there. And you said, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam announced it and said it's only 1. So,
Good question. Nobody thought of that one. What's the answer?
2.
Why is it 2?
Because the Jews only
Because the
pray
Jews
1,
do 1.
so we said we all do 2.
Yeah.
If I live to the next year, we all do 2.
The Prophet ﷺ always did 1. He did the 10th of Muharram. He used to do the fasting on that day, even in Mecca before the migration to Medina. When he arrived in Medina, he found that the Jewish people there were also doing it. He said, "What's this?" They said, "We do this because Musa alayhi salam was given victory on this day over Pharaoh." Prophet ﷺ said, "We have more right to Musa than you do." So he continued to do that. Then this Another hadith, however, reports it seems later on in time in Medina, when the identity of Muslim became and established stronger to distinguish themselves from the other religion, Prophet ﷺ made some changes. One of the things he said, next year inshallah we'll do the 9th. But the hadith mentioned the Prophet ﷺ didn't live till the time for it to come the next year. So here are different opinions, not just one. One is the opinion of Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, from the Sahaba. He said the fast of Ashura is abrogated. Exclamation mark, full stop, finished. He didn't do it at all. Once he said Ramadan came with an obligation, finished with fast of Ashura. So that's one opinion. No fast of Ashura. And that's from Sahabi. So that's his opinion. Then there are those who said, like Shafi'iyah for example, and others, that will fast the 9th, the 10th and the 11th. They use a weak hadith, which is not authentic, about fasting one day either side of the Ashura to be different to the Jews. Fasting one day either side. So they, in that hadith, which is not authentic, it is weak, included the 11th. That's why some people went for 9, 10, 11. Some people even did 10, 11, and nothing came for the 11th. I believe the best opinion is Hanafiya follow 9 and 10. 9 and 10. It is also okay, although Hanafiya says makruh, I don't agree with that. It's also okay for just doing Ashura, because that's what the Prophet ﷺ did all his life. Just the 10th. But I believe the best opinion is to take the fi'l, the doing of the Prophet ﷺ, with the qawl, the saying of the Prophet ﷺ, and put them together and do the 9th and the 10th. And remember, it is sunnah.
Thank you.
And mustahab, if you don't do it, there's no sin. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله ولكم إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.